Hello, welcome to Clash of the Rams, the sports talk show. I'm your host, Jeremy Hayes. And along with me, we have alumni, Brandon Crosby.
Thanks, man. Good to be back. Be careful what you wish for, though. You called me out last week, so.
Oh, okay. Ryan Chevy Chevalier.
You guys see Tebow playing running back last night? Oh, wait, that's just how he always plays quarterback.
Eric Russo. And Clash of the Rams champion, Mike McMahon.
What's up, guys?
All right, guys, we're going to jump into the top story. So, Game 7, Cardinals-Giants. What are your thoughts on the game? Brandon?
It's going to be a good matchup between Kane and Loesch tonight. One of the things I thought that was really interesting coming into tonight is the way the Giants have been able to come back in every series. They did it in the NLDS, now they're doing it in the NLCS. And they're going to be hard to stop. I mean, they're actually doing it with their bats now, which is kind of, we're not really used to seeing that. So I think that's going to be a big key moving forward. And I don't know, it's going to be a great matchup. I'm looking forward to seeing who wins.
All right, Ryan?
Well, I love seeing the players step up, especially last night for the Giants. Vogel sung. He had a great game, 9 Ks, and I just love seeing these guys step up. And really, it's two teams that just weren't built as powerhouses, but they have great pitching staffs, and they're going at it right now, and we're seeing a 7th game. This is going to be great.
Yeah, this is going to be great. Eric?
I'm really impressed by these two teams, especially the Cardinals. After what they did last year, they were down to their last strike twice, down by 2 runs in the last couple of games in the World Series, and now they're back in it again. I mean, they lost Pujols, they lost Tony La Russa, their manager. I don't know too many people that had them in the World Series, beside you, but they may get there tonight. It's just an amazing story. They have something in that team that allows them to just continue to get back at it every year, and they're never out of a game. We saw against the Nationals, they were down 6-0. They have something that we wish the Red Sox had, that winning team attitude.
Yeah. Mike?
Yeah, no, it's good to see that the Cardinals, haven't really missed a beat. I think Mike McMahon is a great manager down there to replace La Russa. He's done a great job. And then what Brandon said with the Giants, that they've been performing with the bats, it's been cool to see. Posey hasn't had the best postseason thus far, but they've still been getting it done with the bats. And the pitching, Vogelsong was great last night. But Loesch had a great game earlier in the series, so I think they got their work cut out for him tonight.
Yeah, and I just got to say, Detroit Tigers just sitting at home right now waiting for their opponent. Do you think that's going to affect the World Series at all? Like, will the Game 7 team play better, or will Detroit, with more rest, will they win? Brandon, what are your thoughts?
I don't think so. I think the Tigers were going to be a good team, whether they sat or whether they, had to grind it out or whatever.
Yeah.
They just have the staff that, they have it on both sides of the ball. So I don't think it's a big deal. I think either team that comes out tonight they'll both give it a go too, if whichever one makes it. So I don't really think that has a big thing. I don't really think that's a big deal.
What about you, Ryan?
Well, I believe the Oakland series, actually Verlander, he had to start that 7th game. So it actually gives him rest, so Verlander could probably start Game 1. So it actually benefits Detroit to get their rotation back together and throw the hard pitchers at the the opposing team.
Yeah, Eric?
Well, I'd just like to say, in the baseball preview edition of Clash of the Rams in the spring, I had the Tigers in the World Series.
Yeah.
Just wanted to remind everyone of that.
So it's you versus me, basically.
Yeah,
if the Cardinals win.
If they get there, yeah.
We'll have to see.
I just think the Tigers have a great team. Obviously, they struggled in the regular season, but picked it up big time towards the end. Verlander's just, there's no one better than him right now on the mound. And obviously, they have Miguel Cabrera, first Triple Crown winner since '67. Prince Field, they're just a great team. I don't think the layoff's going to affect them too much. They've played a couple scrimmages against minor league teams, so I think they'll be ready to go.
All right, Mike?
Oh, I think a big part of it has to do with depending on who wins tonight. Heading into the World Series, you see the team that whoever wins tonight, pitching fatigue. Pitching always comes down. Is always the big thing in the World Series. So the Cardinals bullpen has kind of been used a lot. Same with the Giants. So has a lot to do with pitching, which pitchers can hold up longer, whether teams can get quick leads and then hold those leads with their bullpen. I think that's going to be the big thing. So it could be a disadvantage because the Tigers haven't been playing. The bats might have gotten cold, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, And really, there are 3 teams right now where 3 teams can win a championship right here. So real quick, I just want your prediction. Just give me the team name of who you think is going to win it all. Brandon?
I've got the Tigers, regardless of who comes out of the other series.
Sorry.
I have the Tigers too. They're just a powerhouse team with Miguel, Prince, and Verlander.
My heart wants to say the Cardinals, but I'm actually switching to the Tigers, I think. So,
Wow.
Eric?
Tigers.
Abandoning your own thoughts.
I know.
I got the
It's crazy.
Giants. I think
Giants,
I think
really?
if they can win this, I think Buster Posey will come alive in the World Series, and they'll take it.
Wow, that's a good way in the segment. You kind of shocked me with that, but okay. So we're gonna move on to our next topic, which is also baseball. John Farrell is now the manager of the Boston Red Sox. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. You guys take it from there. Tell me what you think, Brandon.
I'm not going to say the move is completely disappointing. I'm definitely leaning towards that side.
Yeah.
I think Farrell, I mean, he's had a relationship with the Red Sox, being a pitching coach and being in there, and he was good friends with Terry Francona and, you know, that whole squad. But he was just with the Blue Jays for 2 years and didn't really do much. Not to mention the way that the Red Sox are right now. You know, he knows a lot of that. He knows the system. Maybe you want somebody who doesn't know the system because of how the Red Sox performed this year. Maybe you want someone who doesn't know the system, who's fresh. You know, so it definitely wasn't the most exciting signing. I don't think he's going to be as bad as Valentine was, but you know, I really would like to see somewhere else.
All right, Ryan.
Well, I also would like to talk about, we had to get rid of Mike Aviles to get Farrell. And Mike Aviles, he was a good player for us, good substitute. But we have Siriaco, so it wasn't a bad thing giving up Mike Aviles for Farrell. And Farrell, he's going to be a decent guy, I think. He's used to be a pitching coach for his team. He definitely knows pitchers, and that's what we need the most for his team if we're going to go on from here on out. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it will be interesting.
But it should be better than Bobby V. I agree with that.
I think everybody might agree on that. Eric?
I'm hearing everyone say Farrell wasn't that great in Toronto. Terry Francona basically got run out of Philadelphia before he came to Boston. So I don't think that's a great argument because we saw the success he had here. But the big thing is respect. The players on the Red Sox have respect for him, which these days MLB players, I guess, need to respect the manager in order to play for them. But John Lester, Clay Buchholz, Daniel Bard, even John Lackey had success under him. Farrell groomed these guys into who they were when he was here. They respect him, like I said. They trust him. He worked with them to get them to when they were most successful. So having him back here, we've seen the reaction already from most of the guys that were here when he was here originally, saying that this is a great move and they really like him and his style. So I think it's going to work. I think this is who Ben Sherrington wanted, and they got their guy.
All right, Mike?
Yeah, I'm glad you said Sherrington finally got his guy. You know, so this is Sherrington's moment to shine. You know, if this doesn't work out, this is going to reflect very poorly on Sherrington and him being the GM. But you know, I don't hate Farrell. I'm not 100% against him. I just think that this is an overhyped hiring by the Red Sox. I think that the fact that they went out and came out and made it look like Farrell was the guy, that he is the savior, I think is wrong. I think a lot of Red Sox fans now are expecting really big things from the Red Sox next season. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that this is still a building process, which is why I would have liked to see, you know, a Brad Ausmus come in, or I wanted Brad Ausmus to be hired because, you know, that underdog factor, you know, lower expectations a little bit and let the team thrive on those. But like you guys are all saying, like Eric, you said, the players are comfortable with Farrell being there, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because they became comfortable with Francona there too. And things kind of started going downhill. So hopefully, you know, he could turn things around. He didn't, you know, the pitching staff in Toronto wasn't good at all. So, you know, I'm not sold on the fact that he's going to come into Boston and completely change the pitching staff. I hope he does, but I don't know.
Tell us how you really feel. Like you're all over.
But is that really his fault, though, that the Toronto staff wasn't that great? I mean, he didn't have a lot to work with the exception of a couple guys. But, I mean, he has relationships with Lester and Buchholz and Bard. These are guys who, since he's left,
we're banking on the
since he
fact
left, have not had any success.
Yeah, we're banking on the fact that, you know, the former success with the pitchers that are there is going to work now. But I mean, you look at Ricky Romero. Ricky Romero was supposed to be a breakout pitcher this year. Had a terrible year, and Farrell couldn't help him at all with that.
If this is your specialty, you're supposed to at least do something. You know, it's got to at least be average, and Toronto hasn't been the last couple of years, their pitching staff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you guys talk about Toronto having bad pitching staff. Right now, the Red Sox pitching staff isn't looking good for the future years. So, but what we can do is, if Farrell is going to stay with Red Sox for a few years, we can build up the younger guys around Farrell.
Hey, I have to cut you guys off. Sorry, move to the next topic, but good job on everybody getting
Can I say
involved.
one more thing?
If it's under 10 seconds,
It's
yes.
going to be. I think this 3-year contract is simply a bridge to Jason Varitek.
Yeah, all right. I think that's a fair statement. I won't say it's a crazy statement, but it's fair. All right, good job on the last segment, guys. But we're gonna move on to our next one, which is Patriots versus Jets last night, and the Patriots barely pulled one out. So, Mike, can you start us off and give your
Well, the
opinion on
positive
that?
is the Patriots finally got their win in a close game. That's been the big thing. Everybody's been doubting the fact of whether they can close games out. They finally did. Whether it was because Sanchez can't control the ball or not, doesn't really matter if they won a close game.
Yeah.
I'm going to sound like a broken record, but
Yeah.
they can't close out games, and they can't play
They did,
defense.
though.
So, but they didn't. They blew a 10-point lead
They
in the
blew
fourth
it,
quarter.
yeah.
So I know they won, and Brady drove them down the field twice, once in overtime, once at the end of the game. But the defense played horribly again. They gave up 6 plays of over 20 yards. They lead the league by far in plays of over 20 yards. They made Mark Sanchez look like Joe Montana. The guy threw for 82 yards last week. He's has the worst completion percentage in the league, and he 49% or something like that. He threw for over 300 yards yesterday and had a 68% completion percentage. So it's just there's no improvement on the defense, and once again they couldn't close out a game.
Before I move to Ryan, I just want to say that the Patriots didn't have their starting safeties yesterday.
Yeah, but
And
they've
they were
had
both
them.
rookie
They've had them in the
safeties.
past. They've had them all year.
I know, I admit
That's
it's a
what's
problem.
happened.
I'm just saying yesterday, I mean, you got to kind of throw that in as a factor. But I agree that the defense just... right.
Well, I feel we're being a little harsh because we're just so used to the domination of the Patriots, and maybe it's not going to be that way, but the greatest thing is we have Tom Brady, who doesn't turn the ball over, and that's what makes and breaks NFL teams in this league today. If you're turning the ball over, that was the deciding factor of yesterday's game. Sanchez had a pick, and then had the fumble,
Yeah.
and that's what's really going to win you ball games, is if you don't turn the ball over. So we'll win these tight games more often than not, but it's just not the dominating team we've seen in years before.
Brian?
I agree with Ryan in that people are used to the domination of the Patriots, and I don't think the Patriots are necessarily that team anymore. I'm not saying they're not good, but they're not winning the ball through the air as much as they used to. Now they have a running game, and they're more of a grinded out team now. I predicted them to win by 10 yesterday, and they kind of fell a little bit short of that, but still, I mean, the Jets are a formidable team. They're not great, but you know that if you don't play your best game, that they can beat you. And the Patriots secondary, like we've been saying, is terrible.
Yeah.
But the Patriots still have some, they're still all right on the defensive side of the ball, but the secondary definitely is the problem with the team.
I should say the secondary because the front seven has been pretty
Yeah,
solid so
right.
far.
Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to say, the Jets, I don't know if they're a good team, but if they play somebody else yesterday, they lose that game.
Exactly,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
The Jets gave the Patriots many opportunities between the safety, the fumble, Sanchez throwing up the ball like they did, Hill dropping the ball at the end of the game for the first down. They just gave the Patriots many opportunities to win the game earlier than they did, and the Patriots didn't do it. Blew another lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And I just want to throw this out there to get beyond the Patriots, but the Giants won one of the games of the year yesterday. We have 2 Giant guys here, so I just want to ask your opinion on that. So, Brandon?
I mean, it's more of the same. The players on the Giants are kind of used to this.
Yeah.
The fans are used to it. The Giants kind of being like down and out, and then Eli Manning coming back. So people aren't really, the Giants aren't really concerned when they get down late because Eli Manning is one of the best, 2-minute drill quarterbacks there is. So it was a good game for the Giants. It was a good win. Usually they've lost a lot of these type of games, and the Redskins, they swept the Giants last year. So I think it was a good win for the Giants, divisional win.
Yeah, it was a big win. I mean, the Giants are sitting at 5-2 now. So I mean, you look at Eli Manning. I mean, he didn't have a good game. I don't think, at least. I mean, he had 2 interceptions before that touchdown on that last drive.
Yeah, came in at
You were looking at a pretty. I mean, he threw a terrible interception on a button route on the outside. He just threw it right to the linebacker. So you see that from Eli Manning, but then you also see the clutch. So, sitting at 5-2, I'm not complaining.
And what's interesting is after a game, Giants defense came out and said Robert Griffin III was the best quarterback they've played this year so far.
Wow.
I think something that comes out of that game too is Eli the guy now that you want on your team to win you a game, surpassing Brady, Rodgers.
He seems like that type of clutch guy.
2 minutes in the fourth quarter? Yeah, he is.
Maybe the guy.
Maybe not the full game, but yeah. All right, well, we're going to move on to our next topic, which is hockey. I wish we had more to talk about hockey, but can you guys update us on how we're doing?
Yeah, a huge step back last week. We thought we had a deal. The owners proposed a 50-50 deal, which was a huge story because the owners didn't seem like they wanted to budge, but they did. We thought that the players would take that, like that, but they obviously didn't. They came back with 3 proposals of their own, 2 that eventually get them to 50-50 down the road, 1 that's 50-50 right now, as long as the owners pay the existing contracts as they are, which the owners didn't agree to, the league didn't agree to, so now we're kind of back to square one. This week, another big week as far as whether the season's going to be able to be a full 82-game season. They want November 1st to be the deadline for that. So if they don't come to an agreement this week, we could be looking at
And games are canceled.
Games are canceled
November.
So the deal that the owners proposed would have given us an 82-game season, and it would have been it would have been a 50-50 deal, as opposed to the 57% that the players get right now. So a lot of people have been against the owners and Bettman and all that. I think that by doing that, the owners put the ball in the players' court, and the players drop the ball big time. I mean, this is on the players now. This is, 50% is down a lot from 57, but I mean, when it comes to playing hockey, it just doesn't seem like they care too much. And there's enough guys over in Europe to where it doesn't matter.
I originally thought that the players kind of dropped the ball too, but the more I looked at it, they proposed a fair deal too. I think both sides are being stubborn at this point. They both want to prevail and make sure that they have the power in the league. So, like I said, this week is a big week. I don't know when they're going to meet, but they have to meet by the end of the week to see if they're going to come up with a new proposal to get the November 1st deadline. But like I said, they don't seem to be on the same page still.
After the 2 rejections, it seems that they're about as far apart as they've been during the whole discussions. So I mean, the Winter Classic is the goal for me, at least.
Yeah, because that might get canceled soon, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say, it's kind of the opposite with the NBA. There ended up being a 50-50 deal there, and they ended up taking it. I think eventually both sides just have to come to agreement for the sport. Because hockey, it definitely declined after the last lockout, and now it's starting to build itself up, and now they have this. So I definitely think it's taking a step back.
But it still took a little while for the NBA to still sign the deal, and you're seeing like a lot of players now who just want these want the 50-50s, and there's players that are trying to get their word, and it's almost bad for the fans because it's like they want to see the games, and it's like these players getting paid all the money, and they still want more.
50-50 should be good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't get much more fair than 50-50.
Yeah. All right, we got to move on to our next segment, but great job, guys. And our next segment, we're going to head over to Alexa with our Suffolk updates. So take it away.
Hello, I'm Alexa Kay here with your Suffolk sports updates. In men's soccer, the Rams beat Riviere 9-0, and women's soccer beat St. Joseph's 2-0 this past Saturday. That is all for this week's updates, and now we move on to the Clash of the Rams debate. This week's debate will be the rematch between alumni Brandon Crosby against Jeremy Hayes. How are you two doing?
Doing fine.
Doing all right.
Okay, today's debate. Is LeBron James now considered an elite player of all time? Go.
Okay. First of all, I want to address something that you said last week.
Okay.
First of all, I think it was ridiculous that you called me out to begin with, seeing as I beat you twice already. But even more, just as ridiculous as that is you saying you're not a LeBron hater, when on the very first show, you came out and said that LeBron is not going to win a ring in the next 3 years. That didn't turn out well for you. You lost that one. And then the next time we argued, you said LeBron James was not the best player in the NBA. It was Kevin Durant, which is utterly ridiculous because LeBron James, and this is what makes him an elite player of all time. He's a defensive specimen. The dude can play any position on the court. We've seen him guard Derrick Rose in the finals. He did a good job with that. He's fronted Pau Gasol a number of times. He did a great job with that. The man's he's been an MVP 3 out of the last 4 years. Do you know how many people have 3 MVPs? 8. You know who most of those people are? Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, some of the best players of all time. So there's no way that LeBron James can't be in that conversation, especially considering 2 of the people that Michael Jordan played with, Charles Barkley and Scottie Pippen, said that he has the potential to be better than Jordan, or he's already at that point. So it's ridiculous of you to even say that and even imply that you're not a LeBron hater, because you obviously are, considering what you've been trying to prove, like these past this whole year.
All right, okay, so let me just open this up right here.
Good.
All right, so now what was this that you beat me into? I have no clue what that has to do with this debate, but let me just say that.
I just had to respond to you calling me out. That's it.
I know, it's no problem. But as far as an elite player, you're really comparing Michael Jordan to Stockton as an elite player.
How do you figure Michael Jordan is Stockton?
Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not. I'm
All right,
comparing.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, now wait 1 second. Elite is a small group of guys who are successful in their society. You cannot say that LeBron, after winning one ring, and that, before I even go on to anything, let me just cut you off saying, the whole LeBron hater thing, I'm objective. And yes, I predicted that LeBron James win a ring. Yeah. Guess what? Guess what a prediction is? A guess. Because you make a guess, you're smarter.
It was a poor
than me.
guess. It was a poor guess.
It was a poor guess, yeah. What does that mean?
But you made that guess based on the fact that you don't like LeBron James.
No, I based off the fact that he can't win, and he cannot
in the
win.
next 3. You didn't think that the stacked team, the Heat, can win the next 3 years.
All right, no, I didn't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
All right. LeBron James, he didn't deserve the MVP, so you're wrong on that. Durant had more stats in every category, so you're still wrong about that. So I don't get what you're saying with that.
Absolutely
and the
not.
whole thing, I'm gonna go back.
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna go back to the Stockton Jordan thing. You're insulting the legacy of Michael
But how do you
Jordan.
compare-
Let me talk
go
for a
ahead,
second.
go ahead.
Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird,
Okay.
Bill Russell, and then maybe you can argue a couple others, but that's it. Those are the elite NBA players of all
and how
time.
do
You cannot say just top 20, oh, they're elite. That's insulting to their legacy.
And how do you say LeBron? How do you think LeBron is comparable to Stockton? Because he's not.
1 ring. That's
One
all
ring?
he has. He can win.
Okay.
He can win another ring.
Okay, and Stockton won that 1 ring on. Well, first of all, Stockton didn't win a ring, but he won that.
Yeah, he didn't win a ring.
But he was.
I was just making the
secondary to Karl
comparison.
Malone.
I wasn't.
Well, why would you make that? They don't. They're not even related in any way.
Because you're talking about like top 20 players.
LeBron James is
elite.
the main player on his team. He's won the MVP 3 out of the last 4 years in a pretty talented league. And you're trying to tell me that he's Stockton
a pretty talented.
Very talented league.
The thing I'm saying, you have to be patient. I get that you're saying that. Oh, LeBron James.
I don't have to be patient because he's proven it.
LeBron James.
8 All-Stars, 3 MVPs in the last 4 years.
And 1 championship. He was all that he's been known for. His legacy. Legacy to
Look,
be elite.
championship
Your
is the
legacy.
only thing. The
Your
championship
legacy
is the only
counts when
thing
you're
he
talking
needed to
about
get
that.
there.
I don't get what you're
The
saying.
championship is the only thing he needed to get there, and a lot of people
one
were saying,
he needs
a lot of people were
multiple
saying they were going to
championships.
disrespect him or say he's not there because
All
of that
those
one
elite
championship.
guys have
Guess
multiple
what?
championships.
Guess what?
You got 1 minute, guys. 1 minute.
Go.
Dwayne Wade, he was playing with 1 leg that finals. He wasn't very effective. Chris Bosh missed half the finals. So, I mean, LeBron James willed his team to win. I don't know if you watched the Eastern Conference
Can I
finals.
say this?
LeBron James willed his team to win. Yeah,
Can I say this? LeBron James, right now, currently, is the best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had an unbelievable year in the lockout year last year.
He's won. Yeah.
And now I'm saying you're jumping the gun of saying, oh, now he's elite. You need to be patient. He can be elite.
He's in a select
not elite
class.
right now.
He's in a select class, and I just proved how he was.
He's not in a select class if he's not with those guys, because those guys are the elite of the NBA.
He is.
Which is
I just proved he's basically with those guys.
No, he's not. All his statistics and averages, I mean, they're going to either go up or down. He can do even better or he can do worse.
He's going to win more rings. He's going to, I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
unless you're
You're
counting on him to get,
guessing.
unless
You're
you're
guessing.
counting on him to get hurt. That's the only.
He tears his
way.
ACL next year. He's never the same.
He's
Tiger Woods is going to win 100 majors. Guess what?
LeBron James is, and you don't think people are forever going to say LeBron James is elite.
Time.
Right.
Okay, judges, who won?
Wow, that was a lot closer than last year's. I'm gonna have to stick with my vote last year. I go with Brandon.
That was an awesome debate. Well, I'd probably have to go with Brandon. The injury thing just didn't work your way.
I thought we were in Bristol for a second on the set of First Take. I'd have to go with Brandon.
All right. Well, good debate, guys. Now it's time for your Ram rants. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to stick with the NBA, and I'm going to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. They have lofty expectations this year after just getting Dwight Howard. He just played in his first preseason game. I think that the Lakers are going to be good, but they're going to take time to get there. They're just like the Heat from a couple of years ago. They're going to take time to get there. Dwight Howard and Kobe Bryant are still both huge. Like, they're still both really big names that argue with each other or they have the potential to argue with each other all the time. And I think they brought in Nash expecting for those guys to, for him to be able to calm them down. But I think the Oklahoma City Thunder still have what it takes to be able to get to the finals. So I have the Oklahoma City Thunder this year over the Los Angeles Lakers. We'll see what happens, but I don't see those superstars gelling that fast. So.
All right, my Ram rant, why I just lost. No, I'm only kidding. That was a good debate, though.
Very good.
All right, my Ram rant's on the NBA, too, actually. And I just want to say that we need to start to question. I know sports reporters are scared of it, but we need to start questioning if certain leagues are fixed. And the NBA is definitely one. We're having this whole Jim Rome versus Stern thing where we're talking about, with him beating his wife or whatever. I have to talk about the lottery balls because we can't see the lottery balls and who wins the draft. That's pretty important when there are only 5 players on a team, who you draft. So I just think as reporters, we need to be a little more objective. We just had somebody in the past decade get caught for gambling who was a referee. So, I don't know what else to say about that. But I'm not saying it is fixed. Just keep your eyes open.
Mike?
Okay. So, a lot of great football games last week, but I want to talk about we were deprived of seeing one overtime game in the Saints-Buccaneers game when Josh Freeman rolled out of the pocket and found Mike Williams in the back of the end zone. Flag was thrown. Said it was an ineligible receiver downfield. When Josh Freeman rolled out of the pocket, the Saints defender took Mike Williams and shoved him out of bounds. Mike Williams came back into play, caught the ball. It's a dumb NFL rule that says when the quarterback rolls out of the pocket, the defender is allowed to shove the receiver out of play, and then that person can't come in and be the first person to touch the ball. Ruined a great football game. It was a terrible way to end it. I'm shocked that Schiano handled it as well as he did. It was a shame. Terrible.
I'm going to talk about the Cardinals and Lance Berkman. He just today was reported how with his knee injury he would not be playing in the World Series. It's probable, but he more than likely will not. And the effect this has, Lance Berkman had 31 home runs in 2011, and he's a big player for that Cardinals team. And it's going to take guys to step up on the Cardinals, which they've been doing all year. But I still don't see how they can overcome an injury like this if they make it a World Series against Detroit.
I'm going to talk about Lance Armstrong, the American cyclist, widely considered one of the greatest athletes of all time until today. He was stripped of his 7 Tour de France titles, banned for life from cycling. Just a sad end to his career. He's done a lot of great stuff for charity and for cancer and Live Strong, but he's tainted today. He's tainted forever now. He's on the list of athletes that have their great accomplishments taken away or tainted, and it's too bad, a sad day for Lance Armstrong.
Okay, well, thank you guys. That's it for us today at Studio 73. We'll see you next time.